Good evening and welcome to Sunday Night Satsang with myself, John Homewood.
And Michelle McClunan.
Michelle, welcome. We missed you last week. We weren't able to be with you last week, but we're back. So this is quite a sacred part of the week where we center ourselves, we become present, we connect with our true essence, our true being, and we share some information with you and hopefully give some direction for the week ahead. Do we have anything on astrology tonight?
Not really, no.
Not too much.
We've got a couple of movements, but nothing too big.
So Michelle may share something with you a little bit later. What we always do is start with an opening centering meditation, and we end with one at the end as well, and we give you an affirmation at the end to help guide and focus the awareness for the week ahead. So we like to know who we're talking to, so please just type up where you're from, who you are, and if you have any questions or comments, we love getting those as well. We also love getting the hearts. We love getting the hearts. And Claire, you're always with us. Thank you. Thank you for your support, Claire. Yeah, from Zimbabwe.
And Paula, all the way from Portugal.
Yes.
Hi, Paula. Good to have you with us as well. Thank you for the hearts.
Yes, thank you for the hearts. Thank you. Yeah. And if you find what we have to share of interest or valuable, please also press the share button. It really does help get it out there. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe as well.
Hi, Merlene.
Hello, Merlene from Port Elizabeth. All over the world.
Yeah,
all over the world. Yeah. It's a beautiful day here today in Cape Town. We're in the Western Cape in Cape Town, South Africa, and it's a beautiful day. Really
for beautiful. A walk just now in the forest.
Yeah, it got windy then, isn't it?
A bit windy. Yeah. Hello, Jill. Nice to have you with us.
Yeah, from Pietermaritzburg.
Yeah, we're all parts of the country today. Yeah. And Lisa from Italy.
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa.
No one from Cape Town.
Not yet.
No.
Just us.
Just us. We're from Cape Town. We're anchoring the light.
We are anchoring. And that's Christine from England.
Yes. Hi,
Hello,
Christine. We were going to phone you today and we didn't get around to it. Sorry. Chilly UK. Winter's setting in there already. Yeah. The Sunday satsangs are important in that we focus an attention and energy and light into the planet. And at this time, I believe the earth needs as much light and as much awareness as possible. So it is important, these Sunday night satsangs. And just to be centered, just for a short while, we open ourselves up to be a channel for light to enter this particular dimension of creation. And it is important that we do this work. Not that it's work, it's fun.
It's actually lovely because it feels like we've dotted all around the place.
Yeah.
Little sparks of light.
Hello,
all
Claire.
Over East London. We've got Frederhoek.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Kish.
Hi, Kish. Krish.
Is it Krish?
Good to have you with us.
Hello.
Okay, you're going to bring us in with your lovely centering.
Let's start with a centering meditation. And meditation merely means to clear the mind. It just means it means no mind. So just to clear away the thoughts and the preferences and the judgments that we've had today. Clear away all the doingness. And just to center ourselves for a short while on beingness. Don't forget we are a human being. And while we get so caught up with the human part, which is the part of us that's in time, so we're going from the past to the future. It's about achievement and acquisition, where the being part is the eternal part of us. It's always here, always now. And yet we tend to overlook the being in preference to the doing. And when we do that, we enter a place of suffering. That's what Buddha said, because being is emptiness and doing is always a somethingness. And because we make somethingness more important than beingness, we suffer. So what we're going to be doing now for the next little while is exiting the world of doingness, suffering, and coming into reality, which is beingness here and now. So you might like to settle back into your chairs or your bed or your floor, wherever you're sitting or lying, and just center your awareness in the here and now. And we generally find that closing our eyes just withdraws our mind from the worlds of things around us, And we just become internally present, internally aware. And we become aware of the life that we are. We are life. We don't have a life. We are life. And it's life that animates our body. So we withdraw our mind from all other times and all other places and become focused on the life that's inside our body. And a very good way to do that is to focus on our hands. Focus on the life inside our hands. So with our eyes closed, we focus on what it feels like to have these hands. We become aware of the life that animates the fingers. You might like to move your fingers a little bit, become aware of the movement of those fingers. Become aware of the life that animates the palms of our hands. Become aware of the sensations, the feelings that we can feel. Maybe we can feel the temperature of the room in our hands. And right now, the energy called life is causing the metabolic processes to take place in our hands. The exchange of the gases in each and every cell. The exchange of the nutriments in each and every cell in our hands. The hands are so important. They enable us to do so much in the world, in the human doing world. But they also can anchor our awareness in the world of being. When we hug someone, we bring being into their awareness and into our awareness. When we hug, we become much more present. When we hurt ourselves or someone hurts themselves, we put our hands on ourselves or the other, because there's such an energy of presence, of being in the hands. And that is where healing takes place, is through presence. In our hands we have lines. These lines represent our life's journey here in the human experience. The hands are the map of our life journey. So let's just honor our hands for a moment, just to feel them from the inside, and to say thank you for the sacredness of the life that animates our hands. Feel, if you can, the radiance of energy coming from your hands. And now take a gentle but very deep breath, deep into your solar plexus. And a long release, dropping your shoulders as you breathe out, clearing any worry lines, stress lines from your forehead, relaxing the muscles from around your eyes. Take another deep breath in, very, very deep breath in. This time take it right down to your toes. And then as you breathe out once again, just relax the arms, the legs, the feet, and let go. Take a third very deep breath in, right down your body, and up to the top of the head as well, filling your whole body up like a big ball, big balloon, and then that lovely long release. Releasing your mind from all thoughts of yesterday, all projections of tomorrow, and just becoming centered in the here and now, the present moment. The only place that life exists is here and now. Become aware of the gentle in and out breath as life breathes you, not trying to force it in any way, not controlling it any way now, just handing it over to this intelligence that beats your heart, that digests your food, that oxygenates every single cell in your body, that enables you to listen, that enables you to see, that enables you to walk and talk and think. This intelligence called life, more than capable of breathing you. So let's just honor the breath with our awareness, not trying to control it, but just being aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, and the slight pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. Becoming aware of even the slight temperature change in the nostrils between the out and the in-breath, and the in and the out-breath. And as we keep our awareness present on the breath, we extend that awareness to the listening, to everything we can hear in this moment. We're aware of these words that are being spoken through me, but we're also aware of other sounds. We can hear the sound of the wind. What can you hear? Just be the space into which all sounds appear and then disappear. Without holding on to them with any mental strategy or any mental story. Just allow the sounds to pass through you, unresisted, unjudged. Becoming aware of the chair you're sitting on, the sensations that are entering your body, under your feet, from maybe the floor. Becoming aware of where your hands are resting right now. Becoming aware of any colors or shapes behind your eyelids. Becoming aware that you are aware. That in fact the very essence of being is awareness. That you are life, and life is awareness. Becoming aware of the stillness within you right now, the peace that is your true essence. Feel that emptiness, that quietness within you now. This is your inner space. Your true identity, the true I amness, the true isness of conscious awareness. Being aware of the breath, being aware of the sounds, being aware of the chair that you're sitting on, being aware of my voice. Being aware of the life that animates your hands. Being aware of the sacred time that we share in this moment. The sacred space that is this present moment here and now. You may feel your heart relaxing and opening. You may feel yourself becoming empty, becoming a channel for life and love to flow through you into this dimension. You might feel it flowing through your hands. This peace and this presence and this power. And from our hands and from our hearts, we direct this power out into the world. We become a channel for peace to flow through us into this human experience. It is through the portal of stillness within us that we become an instrument for positive change in the world. And through our heart we feel a sense of gratitude for this moment, for this awareness, and for this love that flows through us, here and now. You might like to bring into your awareness anyone that you know who might be in distress or need of healing. Just Just bring them into your awareness. Send them love. You're not trying to fix them or change anything. It's all perfect. You're just sending them the intention of peace and balance right now. And as you intend, it is done. We use the power of imagination now to surround the world in a golden light, golden bubble, bringing intense, beautiful healing for Mother Earth, for all who live on her. We say thank you for this healing. We take a very deep breath in. And a long breath out. And we gently, when we're ready, we open our eyes. We just see how we feel in this moment. Feel a bit more peaceful, a bit more relaxed, a bit more centered, a bit more balanced.
Let us know in the comments how you feel after that. It really was lovely, John. Very relaxing, very centering.
Beautiful. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us for Sunday Satsang, and just let us know who you are in the comments box, and we love getting those hearts. Thank you for those hearts.
Yeah,
we love to that. Yeah.
Welcome, Margie. We see you joined there.
Yes, hi, Margie.
Yeah, good to have you with us.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to be talking about rolls.
Rolls. Bread rolls. Crispy bread rolls.
Yeah, so it's Libra season, which is about relationships.
Yeah.
And about what we expect from our relationships, what we give in our relationships, our conditioning in relationships. So tonight we're going to talk about the relationship we have with ourselves and with the different roles that we have. And we just want to chat about that, really.
Yeah, that's right. So Libra, what is Libra?
Well, Libra it's the sign of the scales, and it's definitely the sign that's connected with relationships. And it's really a time to actually try and bring ourselves into balance, which is our theme for Inner Space for the month, with our community group, is finding balance. So I think with the madness out there in the world and all the war, it's the opposite of that. It's finding balance even in the chaos, especially in the chaos. And I think that's going to be called on us quite a lot, yeah. Especially in the next month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So those of you who don't know, Inner Space is our online support community. And if you enjoy what we have to share, you might like to join Inner Space if you're not already there. And the theme this month is balance, finding balance. And what is balance, and where in your life is out of balance, and what can we do to bring your life back into balance? So that's the theme for Inner Space for the whole of October month.
And how can we maintain our balance when the world's gone mad?
The world has always been mad. So it's just becoming so blatantly obvious now. The insanity is so obvious now in the world. Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about. So tonight, the other part of Libra is relationships. It's me and you, and the relationships we have with others. But we thought it would be really nice to speak about our roles. And that's really a relationship that we have with different parts of ourselves, in a sense. And very often what we believe we are, which is our roles. And we're going to chat about that.
Yeah, many people define themselves through their doingness. And they have a sense of identity invested very much in the roles that they play in this world. We have the role of for example, parent, of mother or father. It's such an important role. Or we have the different role of daughter or son, or we have the role of business owner or employee, or we have the role of Reiki practitioner, or we have the role of victim. I mean, there's a big role. And these are all externally derived senses of self that we have. And what we do is we try and find ourselves and the improvement in ourselves in terms of those roles. And that is part of the world of illusion. And with illusion, there's always disillusionment. So we have these projections into the world. And then when the world doesn't actually validate that or give us what we think it should give us, we experience pain and suffering, which is the ending of illusion, which is always disillusionment. And so when we define ourselves through the many roles that we play in life, we're always setting ourselves up for more pain and more suffering. And even, when you meet someone and you introduce yourself, you'll introduce yourself in a certain role with a certain identity, and you will let them introduce themselves from a role point of view. And we play these roles because it gives us a certain solidity in the world, a certain sense of self-definition. Who would I be if I wasn't these roles that I play? But the question would be is, what would you be if you didn't so identify yourself with the roles? If you experienced maybe a liberation from these confinements of what the roles project onto you, maybe you'd discover a greater sense of inner ease and inner peace.
Yeah, because I think along with the roles come a lot of expectations and conditioned beliefs. So, for example, if you have the role of a mother, there's a whole lot of conditioning that goes along with that good mothers should X, Y, Z, or the role of a father or the role of a daughter. Good daughters should X, Y, Z. A good businessman must be like that, not like that. An artist should be like that. There's a whole lot that comes with each role, each external role. There comes a lot of expectation and conditioning. And so the more we connect with and define ourselves, yes, we have roles, but the roles are not us. But we sometimes believe that they are. So the more we define ourselves by that role, we say, I am a. Well, are you? Yes, you practice that, you do that. Or you might have the role of a mother or a business person or an astrologer or a teacher or a healer or an abused person, but that's not who you are. That's a role. And the more that we connect with it and identify with it, the less we're actually identified with who we really are. Because along with that also comes validation. So if you're a good daughter, then you get validated for being the good daughter. So then you behave like a good daughter should behave, or a good mother should behave. And then you get validation, which then feeds back to you and you feel, okay, I'm a good daughter. So you identify with that more. Or I'm a successful business person, so I'm going to identify with that more, and that's going to become my identity. And in the process, we kind of lose sight with who we really are at our core.
Yeah, what you said earlier, it's a something. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
And the moment we put a in front of anything, we make it into a somethingness. And then we become a somethingness. Now, in the opening meditation, we experienced maybe a greater level of liberation, of freedom, beyond form, beyond role, beyond identity. And in that there was a sense of being. And you're not a being, you are being itself. You are being, and being doesn't have form. It plays out in form, but it's not form itself. In the same way that electricity is not the stove, electricity is not the toaster or the kettle, it's just electricity. And being is the energy that animates all thingnesses. And the illusion is when we become a something, that the illusion is that then I am a something, a solid object in time and space, which we're not. And I remember years ago counseling a woman, and she had identified herself as a Christian. For many, many years she'd been a Christian. And obviously, as Michelle said, there are certain boundaries, certain expectations, self-imposed and societal expectations made of you in that time. And she had a lot of anger within her, that because she was a Christian, and the word good ties in with that. It's sort of part of, I'm a good Christian or a good person. And a good person doesn't feel angry, because that's a bad emotion to have. And so she had suppressed her anger, and it just came out in huge resentment and played out in her relationships that way. And only when she was able to see through the illusion of being anything Was she able to truly feel the anger that was there, to acknowledge it, to own it, and to feel it? And only through the feeling of that anger was she able to liberate herself through healing of that particular emotion. So the fact that she had identified herself as a somethingness prevented the flow of emotion from going through her, because emotion is meant to flow. It's not meant to be held back or suppressed or pushed away. It's meant to be fully felt in the moment and then released to flow on. And there was a tremendous healing that took place in her as she stepped out of the identity of being a good Christian. And so that's just one example of how a role that defines us can limit us from the true expression of life and love of who we really are.
There was another story I heard of a woman whose husband was put into a frail care centre or something. He was going a bit senile, and every time she went to see him, she would feel like she was going to pass out. And she would sometimes pass out, and she would feel dizzy and disoriented, and nobody could actually find out why until she found someone to help her. And he said, okay, well, what happens? And, you know, she had always seen herself as the role of the good wife. And so when they sort of started to drill down, in the therapy session, she said, I'm so angry, I hate him. And obviously that wasn't allowed. I mean, a good wife doesn't hate her husband. She didn't really hate him, but she was very upset by the fact that he had left her. So he hadn't done it on purpose because he was ill, but she felt abandoned. And she was angry at being abandoned, but she couldn't express it because obviously you don't do that. You sympathize with your husband that's not well. And as soon as she was able to acknowledge her own anger and her own sense of betrayal and her own sense of abandonment, she was then able to actually step away from that good wife role, and she was able to find healing, and it never happened again, and she was able to actually be the supportive wife without the expectation. And so it's really, really interesting to look at those roles that we've actually assumed, sometimes without even knowing it. Sometimes it's subconscious. We don't even know that we're behaving in a way in which we're getting validated for behaving in a specific way because that's what we've defined ourselves as.
Yeah.
You know, and you often hear people saying, you know, I am my children, or I live for my XYZ, my job, my home. And it's to really look deeper than that, because at some point along the line, if you have children, at some point you didn't have children. And who was the you that was there before you had children? That was there before you had the role of mother. That's not saying you aren't a mother and that you're not having that role as a mother, but is it your identity? How can it be? Who's the one who sees everything? Who is the one who sees the role? Yeah,
because roles are not the problem. Yeah. The objects in the world are never the problem. It's when we identify ourselves with that. For example, I mean, you can have a beautiful car or a beautiful house. There's nothing wrong with having a beautiful car. But if you think you are the car, there's a level of insanity that's crept in there, because you're not the car, you're not the vehicle, you're not the house, you're not the relationship, you're not the job, you're not the career, you're not the achievement, you're not the acquisition of anything. You are something more eternal than the transitory comings and goings of the world at the physical thingness level. So the role is not the problem. You know, playing the role of a mother is wonderful and beautiful, as long as you don't get a sense of identity from it, as long as you don't look to the role for your fulfillment, because that's the illusion. No role, no acquisition, no thingness can ever fulfill you. It cannot, because it's transitory, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. As Michelle said, you know, for example, if we're talking about mothers, there was a time when you weren't a mother. Yeah. There's a time when you are the mother. And believe it or not, there will come a time again when you're not the mother again. And whatever role we play, it appears in time, and anything born in time will die in time. And if we attach ourselves to that which is changing, hoping that it doesn't change, that is where suffering comes in. That's dukkha. That's what Buddha said. It's the root of all suffering, is clinging to that which is changing, thinking it ought not to change, but it is changing. So there's nothing wrong with playing the role. You can play the role if you want, but don't for one moment lose yourself in the identity of being that particular role. And the big underlying factor in all of this is a word called fear. Fear is what gets us to cling to that which is not us, to give us a sense of self. It's fear. And the transformation we're making individually and collectively as a human species at the moment is to step off the path of fear, which has defined us very much individually, collectively, and in a nationalistic way, religious way for so long, and move into the field of love. And love has no boundaries. It has no expectations. All roles have expectations. Love has no expectation. You say, well, I love my children. I'm trying to be a good mother. No, there's a fear there. There's a fear which binds you to a certain behavioral pattern. So as we start to release ourselves from the prison of fear, and we start to interact more in a genuine way, in a love-based way, so the roles don't become so important anymore. And we start to interact and communicate, not in terms of roles, not in terms of expectations from society or the world around us, but we start to communicate and interact from a level of shared beingness, because that's what love is. Love is the awareness of oneness. Underlying all the forms, all the millions of forms, there's one awareness, one life, one love called beingness. And this is when we start to liberate ourselves from the confines of fear, and we start to work with the freedom that love gives us. We start to recognize the beingness under each and every person that we interact with. Instead of being the teacher, for example, and interacting with the pupil, we start to share our beingness with our own beingness, just appearing in another form. It is ourselves.
Absolutely. I think, and also what happens, I think, when the more that we define ourselves by the roles, as I mentioned a little bit in the beginning, we are validated by those roles. So underlying that, there's a fear that if I don't behave in such a way, then I won't get the validation as that role. And if I've defined myself, let's just say as a business person, and the person who I look to for gratification or validation doesn't validate that, then who am I? Then I'm a nothing. Then I'm a nobody. Then I'm invisible. Then I'm worthless, because I'm finding my worth from somebody else telling me that I'm worthy. So what we're doing there is we actually are giving away our power, because we're saying, I'm asking you, or I'm expecting you to tell me how I should be by validating. So if I'm not doing that and I'm not getting the validation, then clearly I'm not worthy. And in so doing, you've lost yourself completely. You've handed your power over to somebody else in that moment. So it's to just recognize that. Where am I wanting validation? And which part of me is wanting validation? Because it's not the real you. It's not the infinite you, the infinite you that John describes so well. That's not the part of you that wants validation. That part of you is whole and knows it. It's the role that wants the validation. It's the one with all the expectations that I should be a better X, Y, Z. I should have done that better. I shouldn't have done that. It's all the shoulds and shouldn't-haves that come along with the roles. They're loaded with them. And I mean, that goes from day one in the human experience. You know, you're a girl. Girls don't do that. Boys don't do that. Big boys don't cry. All those little conditioned patterns that we get fed. And then that starts to develop our identity. So the liberation is to see that, so that you can actually start to step back from it. So it doesn't, as John said, there's nothing wrong with the role. There's nothing wrong with the car. There's nothing wrong with the clothes you wear or what you put on your body. There's nothing wrong with it, but it isn't who you are.
Yeah, and to realize that the moment you're reaching for something outside of yourself for a sense of self, the moment you're making yourself into a somethingness, you are prisoner to the ego, because that's exactly what the ego is an accumulation of external identity. So the ego is an accumulation of roles. It only knows itself in terms of roles. The ego only knows roles. I am the successful person. I am the strong female. I am the strong masculine. Or I am the victim. I am the shy person, you know. And those are all roles that identify and solidify the egoic identity. We have an ego, and there's nothing wrong with the ego. The ego is wonderful. It's a vehicle which we can experience the human journey with. I mean, it gives us so many experiences, the ego. There's nothing wrong with the ego, but it's a case of awakening in your identity from the clutches of the ego. So you can still have an ego, but you no longer know yourself to be it. It is something you get into and you drive and you get out of again. Same as a car. You get into the car, you drive the car, you get out of the car. And the ego just becomes a vehicle for you to move through this world. We need vehicles to experience the world. We need egos to experience the world. And that's all it is. It's not you. You are not your car. You're not your house. You're not your roles at all. You're not your achievements. And that this is a separation. It's a de-elimination of awareness from the egoic identity of who I am to the awareness of I am being. I am being. And being is not a role. Being is not a role. And people often say, but you know, how do I become who I really am? You know, I need to work at it. Give me 10 steps to become who I am. And they turn it into another doingness. All roles are defined by doingnesses. The beingness is not defined by any doingness. There is no doing to be who you really are. So it is another mind trick of the mind saying, but I need to become who I really am. That's another trick of the ego trying to trick you to say you haven't got it yet. Yeah. But if you do something, if you work, and then eventually one day you'll become who you really are. And that's absolute nonsense. You are being. It's who you are. And it's the letting go of the need to do anything that liberates you to the awareness of being. You can, you know, if you just sit on a rock and you watch the sunrise, there's no doing this. In that moment, there's beingness, and you become very connected with your beingness in that moment. So to become who you really are isn't a doingness at all. It's a stepping back. It's always a stepping back into no doingness. You can be doing while you are being. You start to add the beingness into your doing, and the outcome, the results of what you do change immensely as you bring your beingness into that. Try it with a relationship. Most people are trying to improve their relationship, and they're doing it through a strategy, through a manipulation of situations, even trying to manipulate themselves to be a better person in the relationship. That's all manipulation. That's all doingness. That's all ego. Stepping back into beingness, you are yourself. And in that beingness, relationships heal. Your physical body heals. Your mental body heals through the beingness, because beingness is balance. And it brings all that is out of balance back into balance by being. You are a human, yes, a human, fine, but you are the human being. And we have so overlooked the being part because we have been enamored, we've been mesmerized by the human world of doing and acquisition. And then in the humanness, we become prisoner to the perception of others focused through the roles that we play. So the core here is to let go of the need for roles to define you, for roles to bring you a sense of purpose or a sense of salvation. Let go of the need of that.
Yeah, it can even be what you mentioned there, you know, I want to be a better person, or striving to be more authentic, or I'm striving to be the real me, then you're in another role. The real me or the authentic me or the self-worth me, that's another role.
Becomes another identity.
It's another identity that you're looking for, because it's not, you're reaching for it. You one day when I've got enough time, then I'll actually step into the authentic me. Or one day when I feel strong enough, then I'll step into my true power. Then true power is another role, because it's you're perceiving it as outside of you, and it's not. So that is, John said, the real you is underneath everything. It's nowhere else. It can't be anywhere else. But our conditioned mind and the ego believes that it is, and is it's conditioned, and it's very sort of set on that nothing will convince it that you can't just be happy now, because you still got all these things to do, these steps that you have to take before you can actually be the you that is the real you, is the authentic you, is the empowered you, the one that isn't really all that concerned with what other people think of you. Because the part of us that is very concerned about what other people think of us is the role. Because we might just lose our identity
as a something.
Because somebody's saying, oh no, but she's a bad XYZ. So in that moment, you've actually lost that. You're behaving in a way which is actually coming back as validation that yes, you are worthy. When you're not really.
Because once again, you're seeing yourself as a somethingness.
Yes.
You're identifying yourself as a somethingness. And one of the things that I find quite fascinating is communication. So one of the courses that I do is public speaking. And, one of the questions I ask the group always is do you need to change your language depending on who you're speaking to? Do you need to change your tone as to who you're speaking to? And people say, obviously, we do. If we're speaking to an employee, we need to speak one way. And if we're speaking to our boss, we need to speak to a certain way. If we're speaking to the doctor or a lawyer or a judge, we need to speak to them a certain way. And that's all ego. It's all ego. It's all ego. When you need to change how you're communicating, that's coming from your mind. Your mind is ego.
And it's taking you away, isn't it? From
who you are. Just be genuine, be authentic in all your communication. Doesn't matter whether you're talking to a child or an adult. Doesn't matter whether you're talking to your child or your parent. Speak to them from your authentic self. Don't change your tone. Don't change the language. Talk to them authentically. Communicate authentically. Whether you're talking to the janitor or the MD in the company, talk to them exactly the same way. Now, the mind will freak out then. No, because then they'll think XYZ of me. No, you will open their heart and your communication will be true. True communication happens through an open heart, not through I don't know, did we drop out there?
It seems like it. It just said the broadcast stopped.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you're still with us.
Yeah, we probably have dropped the people for a moment. Maybe you can rejoin us. Maybe you can rejoin us.
Yeah, I think let's just carry on and then...
Let's just wait a moment to see if people join us. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, that was rather strange. Facebook have just changed some of the things on the page today. We've got one person joining us. Facebook changed a few of its setups.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
And maybe they put a line.
Maybe they went down for a minute. I don't know. We'll carry on as if maybe everybody's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology, when it works, it's great.
Yeah. Well, we are privileged to have this technology we have today, that we can communicate with so many in such a simple way. We're very, very blessed to do that.
We've covered most of what we wanted to. I think what the role thing. Obviously, you can go much deeper into it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just given you some idea. Oh, we've got some people coming back here.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. It just
cut out.
For the first time, it said broadcast paused.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. We're not quite sure.
Lisa's back with us, and Claire Cockett's back with us. You were down for a few seconds. Well, we're back. Facebook paused us for a moment. Maybe they didn't like what we were saying. But if you are enjoying what we are saying, please just press the share button. It really does help get it out there, and we love getting those hearts. Thank you for those hearts. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah, we feel appreciated in our roles when you send us hearts. How about that? Yeah, thank you. And if the invitation again is to join us on Inner Space this month, where we talk about balance, because balance is stepping outside of our roles. We only find balance when we step into beingness. That's quite important.
Yeah, I did find a really, really lovely quote, which we'll put up maybe in the comments. It's by Alan Cohen. In the end, we are not the roles we play. We are the light that animates every soul in the dance we call life. And I think that if we take that as a perspective, and when we feel ourselves getting involved in the role and we're identifying with the role, which is usually when we're in a reactive pattern, or we're getting very upset because someone hasn't validated us, or things aren't going well in that role, is to just step back from it and just remember that we are the light that dances this journey. We're not the role. And that, for me, that's incredibly liberating.
Yeah, because when you start to recognize yourself aside from the role, you can then start to see the real essence of who the other is aside from their role. And as we stop judging ourselves in terms of the roles, we stop judging other people in terms of their roles. So the expectations are dropped, and we start to live more in love than in fear, because fear is all about separations, individual, me and you. That's what fear is, false evidence appearing real. And love is the sense of oneness. And what the world needs now is less fear and more love. So that's the importance of doing this work, of starting to see through the illusion that we've been programmed with for thousands of years, possibly, this illusion of I am what I do, I am what I have, and I am what other people think of me. That is all illusion. And we are waking from that state of illusion. And the awakening from illusion is the awakening to love. That's what self-realization is. It's awakening to the true essence of who you are, which then you see that true essence in all that you meet. And that is love. It's a recognition of oneness in the world around you while you're in this dualistic plane.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yes, so you're going to lead us out with a meditation. Then we've got a lovely affirmation we haven't chosen it yet, but I'm sure it'll be lovely. We've got a whole pack here of cards, and we will choose one for you at the end.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for finding us back again.
There will be a replay. As soon as we finish now, the replay will appear below on our Journeys of Awakening page. So you can watch the replay, and you can pick it up where you dropped off. Yeah. There may be two. I'm not too sure how this is going to work, but there may be two separate broadcasts. I'm not too sure. Facebook just said it's paused, but we're not too sure.
Yeah, don't know.
We're not too
Never
sure.
did that before.
No, it's never done that before.
Okay. Yeah, because our signal's fine, so it's not that.
Yeah, it's not the signal. Else. No, we didn't have load shedding.
No, we didn't.
They're all Facebook playing around.
We're going to do a meditation now, an out meditation. So just get yourselves comfy, settle into wherever you are, ground yourself nicely, and take a beautiful deep breath in. And then releasing, relaxing, exhale. And another deep breath in. Let's breathe into the count of 4. And let's breathe out to the count of 6. So letting it all go, letting it all go, letting it all go. And then a third lovely deep belly breath in, all the way up to your chest. And then a lovely, long, slow breath out. You can even breathe out through your mouth, like you're blowing through a straw. Let it all out. And as we do that, we start to really relax the parasympathetic nervous system. And it starts to bring us into the moment, into this moment. Now just be aware of your breath without forcing it, without controlling it. Just being aware of the breath as it enters and exits. Feel the breath on the nose. Allow your body to relax and soften, just for now. Allow yourself to let go of the demands and the concerns and the worries, and just to soak into this moment of peace. Notice that you are the awareness that is watching your breathing, that is listening to my voice. It's consciously relaxing your body. This body that has changed hugely from the time that you were born. Constantly changing, constantly shifting, constantly releasing, letting go, and embracing the new in every moment. Now, just for a minute, connect with 3 roles that you can identify with. So it could be a mother or a father, it could be a daughter or a son, it might be something to do with your work. So 3 roles that come to your awareness. Pick the most important one that you really identify with. And in your mind's eye, connect with that person. You might see yourself in that role. Now really connect with yourself in that role. See yourself engaging and interacting in that role. And then just for now, imagine just stepping back from that role so that it's not front and center. Just releasing the attachment that you might have to it. And seeing that you are the awareness that can see the role, that can play the role, and that you know that you are not that. That's not your identity. That's a role. You might even start to feel a little bit liberated from the demands and the expectations that might come from that role. So stepping back, leaning back even a little bit. Just connecting with the beingness that animates you, the light that emanates you. This very peaceful place inside you, which is always right here underneath any noise, any expectations, any anxieties, any depression, any dis-ease, any illness, any conflict. There is this beingness, this love that unites all of us. It's beneath the roles. It's always here. And as we start to live from this place, the war inside us dissipates, along with the suffering. And that radiates out into the world, the peace inside us, the balance inside us. It ripples out with no doingness from our point, no effort, no striving. Just being the authentic you. So just feeling this place of peace and balance, beauty and connection and oneness. And bringing your focus back to your breath. Take another nice deep breath in and releasing breath out. And staying in this peaceful place. If you like, you can open your eyes.
That was lovely. Wasn't that lovely? Thank you. It was really nice. Hopefully you enjoyed that.
We still got some people, yeah.
Yeah, so now we've got some cards. You want to pick an affirmation for the week ahead.
Close my eyes.
Let's see if the card takes it beyond roles.
Let's see.
All problems are a misperception. In presence, solutions naturally arise. All problems are misperceptions. In presence, solutions naturally arise. That doesn't have too much to do with roles.
Well,
but it's a good affirmation.
Problems.
All problems are misperception. In presence, solutions arise. I'll post that on, take a photograph and put it up on the webpage. That's the affirmation we obviously need to guide us through the next week.
The problems.
Yeah.
To guide us through the problems. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching with us or being with us tonight, sharing your presence with us tonight. Have a beautiful, peaceful and role-free week ahead. Love you all.
And problem-free.
Problem-free, yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Love you all. Nighty-night.
Bye.